All right, now I'm going to talk about measuring bodies. Okay, very simple. I'm going to turn off measuring result filter, measuring a distance, and now I want to measure a body. So the first thing that I do when I come into the menu, and I've gotten used to this, is going into the result filter and making sure that this is set correctly. The next thing that I do is go up to my object to measure, and all right, I'm going to pick an object. So I want to measure, let's say, the volume of a body. Now, these are my selection intents. Notice I have single face, tangent faces, adjacent. I think everybody that uses NX at this point should have an understanding of selection intent. And I have single body and feature bodies. Okay? So when I come over here and I pick this face, I'm going to let my cursor switch over to the quick pick, and I'm going to pick. Now notice I have face of body 1. Let me open this up. There's another face behind that. So those are the two faces. And then I also have the solid body. I'm going to pick the solid body. Now, because I had this set up correctly, it displayed right away. Okay? Now, when I look at this, I haven't really talked about this little flag that pops up, this menu pops up. You'll note that I have, okay, here are all my measurements. We've talked about all that. But if I take a look at this, you'll say, or you'll see I can display these various elements of this as non-associative. And then I can also, I have a button right over here, create geometry. Now notice it's all non-associative. If I turn on associative, something magical happens. These are now going to be associative measures. Okay, so this is true for all other measures as well. I'm just using this as an example. Now, maybe I don't want to see all of this stuff as part of my measurement. So I talked about preferences. I'm going to go into the preferences again and go into body. Currently, these are the things that I am saying I want to see. And maybe I don't want the moment of inertia. Maybe I don't want the principal axes. Maybe I don't want the radii of gyration. Maybe I just want the surface area, volume, center of mass, and weight. I could also do density, making sure I have the proper material applied. Select OK. Now when I come back in, my little information flag pops up, changes, and as you can see, everything's updated. I have my associativity, etc., etc. Now I can also say display as annotation and create geometry. Okay. Now also notice I have something happen to associative. Okay, I had someone ask me this before. Notice it's it's not a check mark, it's a dot. If I click it on and off, notice it goes to check mark. The reason why it was a dot is because when I added the density wasn't told to be associative straight away. So it gave me dot rather than the check mark. If I go into preferences again, just to demonstrate this, back into body, and I turn on principal axes, let's say radius of gyration, all these other things. Again, notice these, you can see these are associative because they're yellow. These down here, this is just meaning that they're going to be displayed, right? These were the things that I already had told to be associative and displayed. These things, not necessarily. Okay, now if I switch this on or off, notice again, little dot. When I turned it on and off, it gave it a little kick, sort of gives a little mule kick to the head and says, hey, display things. I want associative things. So if you are turning things on and off in the preferences while the measure is active, you have to make sure that things are associative or displayed or whatever it is you want. Okay, so if I go back into preferences, turn these things off. Oh, you know what? I don't care about density. I just want to see all this other stuff. I'm going to select OK. And boom, everything is just fine because I've turned things off. I don't have to worry about whether or not something is associative or displayed because I'm just getting rid of them. Okay? So again, some of the nuances, that's true for all other measures as well, but this is just a quick little how to measure a body and making sure you have things set up correctly in the menu. Okay? So again, the takeaway here is, first thing I do when I come in here, if I wanted to, depending on the type of measure, I look for the result filter right away. My eye goes right to that. I'm so used to that now that, it's the first question that I ask. Not what am I going to measure, but what's the filter that I'm going to use to make my measure. Okay? I'm going to select OK. And there is my measure body.